Good morning, welcome to Ama Mimi Ndo Mjinga. I'm your host Mchawi. Today we are gonna talk about climate change or global warming. No, are they the same thing? No, climate change it's just what the name says, change in climate. But the other one's a hoax. Climate change and global warming are not the same thing. Global warming was an agenda that started in the 80s to warn people about the rising temperatures in the earth. The temperatures are in fact not rising, are doing the opposite. It's much colder now than it was 1,000 years ago. Winters are getting harsher every year, but this is not the case with the data that is being released by the weathermen. We know that they are in these rich billionaires' payrolls. Global warming was a pretext to increase taxes to fund these plans, and because it doesn't exist, money disappears out of thin air. Let's look at the fact. Carbon dioxide, which they claim to be the proponent of this global warming, in quotes, accounts for 0.04% of the air in the atmosphere. They want to say that a minute number is causing all the problems. Well, no, they ignore this number, and in turn when you hear them give briefings, they focus on terms like megatons of carbon dioxide. This number is so small that we can't give it much attention. If it was nitrogen, then 21% is a lot, like close to a quarter. That's a lot, but carbon dioxide 0.04%, no big deal. If there were large amounts of carbon 2 oxide emitted daily, look at this. Carbon 2 is food for plants, okay? And there is adequate sunlight. So we should be seeing an exponential growth in plant life. Like I should be seeing tomatoes the size of pumpkins because they have abundant food. But these plants, they are still growing in the normal range of growth, which should tell you that the levels are still the same, because plants speak carbon dioxide. You can't say carbon dioxide without including plants in the mix. I mean, they are the world's greatest air cleaners, so if the plants aren't complaining, why should we complain too? You get the idea? Okay, the models used to predict global warming are entirely false. They are purely based on assumptions because real data cannot coincide with their agenda. We know that. They are biased models which should not be taken into consideration. That was from investor.com, and they came up with a solution for this global warming: green energy and electric vehicles. But green energy is also a hoax, and they are making it too damn expensive. Solar, electric vehicles, everything. They are making so expensive for us to acquire. Why? Because they're in it for the money. Chargers for electric vehicles are run by diesel engine. We know that. They use more fossil fuels than the charge used by the vehicle. So why continue pushing this policy? Money. Taxpayers' money is going into these companies for funding. But I don't call it funding, I call it laundering. What warms the earth, you should understand, is solar activity. I mean, the sun and the moon are our main sources of energy. Simple. Solar activity levels have risen in parallel to temperature levels over the last 100 years. CO2 levels are based on models that favor a linear and gradual increase in levels, as is not the case with solar activity levels. And the linear movement, we should not see linear and gradual, which is actually the same increase in levels in anything that is of the earth. Nothing is linear in the earth. The perpetrators of this agenda, mainly US, Germany, China, advocate for a world free of fossil fuels, yet they burn more coal and oil than any other country in the world. So why preach water yet drink wine? Simply because it doesn't exist. Hence, global warming was a hoax pushed by the elites to milk us of our money. More money funding this agenda means more money into their pocket, and more money funding this agenda is more money going to better causes for humanity, like eradicating poverty, which is an easy thing to do compared to global warming, and affordable housing or free housing for people. But why this capitalistic nature? We should simply stop believing these things. And I've been your host Mchawi, and this is Ama Mimi Ndo Mjinga.